What fun, eh? Anybody here for the first time? Oh, look at this. We got a whole slug of people right over here. I'll start here.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
Lovely.
What do you want me to say?
Who are you?
Hi, I'm Allard Jensen, and it's my first time. I'm 22 years old. No, none. I wish.
Byron Jensen, 68. This is my son, first timer. So just here to learn. Yeah. No, no, nope,
We'll
nobody.
do something about that, guys. We'll help you with it.
Hey, my name's JJ Marcus. It's my first time here. I've been in Salt Lake for like 3 years. KD2 NWL.
KD2 Welcome.
Hi there, I'm Harrison White, call sign KI5 GFV.
PFV,
GFV.
GFV.
Yeah, golf
Welcome.
ball. Yeah.
Thank you. Name is Adam Heffel. First time here. Kilo 7, Quebec Whiskey Oscar.
Welcome. Thank you. Anybody else? All the new guys were right over here, huh? Probably so they can make a quick getaway if they think they need to. All right. Are there any upgrades? Crickets, okay. Yes.
Spears has not been here for a long time, and that's Ron's son. For those of you, Ron's son, for those of you that don't know, hasn't been here in a while.
Sorry, I got it. Sorry. Yep, I'm Ron's son. I've been in the club on and off since 95.
Okay, welcome. Good to see you. All right. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to turn it over to James for a moment. He's going to share some information with us.
Yeah, for sure. Good evening. My name's James, KK7AVS. Before we kick off this evening, our homebrew night, I wanted to take a brief moment and talk about Ron K7RLS. Ron K7RLS has recently become a silent key. He was our club historian. Definitely loved by many. He was here at many of our meetings, taking pictures, always helping out the club, always being there for field day. And it's just hard to see him go. It's just hard to see another ham become a silent key. I've definitely looked pretty hard, and I actually found a QSL card, and I was really excited about that. Ron used to have the call sign KC7MYS when he was a Technician Plus, but he upgraded and adopted this call sign, and it's just pretty exciting to see that we've got a QSL card from that call sign. But anyways, I wanted to do something for him. I didn't have time to do my own homebrew project, but I wanted to take the time and maybe light a vacuum tube for him. This is an 812A. It's a transmitter vacuum tube that's suitable for up to 30 megahertz or the 10 meter band. And I wanted to take a brief moment to light it up for him. Ron, you may not be here with us now, but hopefully you'll be with us here in spirit, at least at 25 watts now.
Thanks, James. Much appreciated. Okay, Rick, tell us what's going on in the bookstore.
Well, we sold out last month all of the Android books we had. I do have them on order. So if you are interested, let me know. I think I have 4 copies on order. They should be in next week, if not tomorrow. So other than that, lots of antenna books, including the new antenna notebook from our friends across the ocean. Also some that are marked down to minimal prices, like $9.95 on that one, rounded 10 on that. Henson Kinks and ARL's Best of the Doctor is In is what I was referring to. So still have hats if you want to keep the sleet off your glasses.
Excellent. Thanks, Rick. I'll mention one more time in case anybody is not aware, we are authorized to park in the north parking lot of the Merrill Engineering Building. The Merrill Engineering Building, if you don't know, is the big building just to the north of where we are that has the big tower and the antenna on top of it. So that's the parking lot that we are allowed to park in. If you park anywhere else on campus and you don't have a parking tag, you will probably be ticketed. So remember that. Next month, we're going to take nominations for club officers. So if you have a mind to take a officer position and you want to run, think about it and be prepared. We will take the nominations next month, and then the elections are at the December meeting. Okay. All right. Let's get on to our homebrew. Where's our list? Whiskey Alpha 7, Juliet Oscar Sierra. Chuck. Remember to use your outside voice because we don't have the PA system.
Wireless. Put it on your shirt. And we're in black and white now for some weird reason with the camera, so.
I look better that way anyhow.
All right. Give me 2 seconds and I'll get it started.
Okay. Well, my project this month is the rebuilding of a 50-year-old power supply that capacitors have lapsed on me. So here's what it looked like, complete with 50 years worth of dust. And so this power supply was used with the whole family of HW and SW or SB power supplies. So we've got 250 or 350 or 300 volts for the B plus and 800 volts for the final, and minus 150 bias. So there's what it looks like when first unbuttoned with all the dust still on it. And here's what was inside of it. Oh, not a whole lot to see. It's just all got ripped out. So first item was to move this down inside, as it was up on top and there wasn't room for it anymore. But with everything stripped out of the the base, this fit inside. So this was the choke between the first and second loading capacitors for the 300 volt supply. And there's with everything stripped out and it mounted down underneath now. And then that left about 8 wires that had to come up to the circuit board. So there's the circuit board. I bought this probably, I don't know, gee, 7 years ago at Dayton. And got it put together, but never turned it into a new power supply. So there it is, mounted up on top. And it took up all the space that was up there, including where the coil was. Whoops.
Oh, yeah, just keep going for 2 seconds and I'll.
Okay. Yeah, well. Transmit with it, it would pump the circuit breaker. And I don't know if that was leaky capacitors or the breaker itself. I'll have to play with it a bit more to be sure. We need to replace the circuit breaker in it too. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Chuck.
Readily available.
Well, I'm gonna say yes, but because this is FAR Circuits that's advertised in the last couple of pages of QST for forever, and a couple months ago, their ad disappeared. And when I went to look for this, in some places it showed, in some places it didn't, so. If you need one, now would be an excellent time to get one. I think the circuit board was $12, about another 20 for the components on it, so. Really inexpensive replacement.
Thanks, Chuck. If that rebuild kit is not available, there are very likely others if you search for them. Okay, AB1 IP. Gary. Take your pick.
So now for something completely different, I'll talk about my power supplies. I'm afraid mine doesn't have nearly as much character as Chuck's, but in fact, mine is so boring. You might think, well, power supply. Why would you bother? Can't you just buy a power supply and be done with it? And it's perfectly true. You could, but I can't really justify why I would build one of these, but the only thing I'll say in my defense is the rest of my HF station is all homebrew. I made the transceiver, I made the antenna, I put the connectors on the coax, I made the TR switch, the pedals, the PIA, I even made the return loss bridge. So I'm running out of things to put into it. And one day I was plugging in my transceiver again and thought, I really hate this off-the-shelf supply. It's big and it's heavy and it's electrically noisy and it's acoustically noisy. You know what? I'm going to make another one. So I tried to do that, and
this is what it is. So it works much like you'd expect. Adjustable voltage, adjustable current limit. The chassis is earthed, of course, for safety, but the output can be earthed or floating. And that's about it. I should have probably prepared a better schematic. Can you? No, it's not going to work. Oh, okay. This doesn't matter much. The details don't matter much. It's pretty conventional with a you know let's get it around the right way. Power power transformer, bridge rectifier, and then the main regulator is a 317. And perhaps the interesting things worth pointing out, before that I put in a current source regulator to provide an adjustable current limit. And then I'm sure somebody must have done that. There's no way I can be the first to have thought of this, but I've never actually seen it before. Before the regulators, so it would be pretty common to have a pass transistor just to soak up the voltage drop, especially you know, under short circuit conditions when you're you know, the power supply basically has to drop the entire load. And so you would put a pass transistor here. And I thought to myself, you know, transistors are cheap. I can buy the power transistor for $1, but you know, it's a 20-watt supply. To dissipate enough, I'm going to have a heat sink in there. It'll cost me $5 or so for a decent heat sink. I thought, well, I think, you know, why can I put in a resistor there? Power resistors are much cheaper than transistor heat sinks because they sort of dissipate the heat evenly from throughout them instead of having to conduct it away from a tiny junction. So I put in a resistor and then shunt with a bypass transistor. I just put in a comparator here with a 393 reference. So I basically, whenever the output is under 10 volts, then I turn off the shunt transistor and dissipate everything through the resistor. And I think that worked out cheaper than I could have done it the other way. So if I plug it in, then I can show you what it will do. Oh, I can show you the inside if you like. It's very ugly. If you have good taste, then then close your eyes for this bit. But that's the middle of it, and everybody else in the room. So it's a bit embarrassing. Don't look too close. So let's turn that on, and you can see maybe here's the, with the output off, it'll, you know, get some 0 to 20 volts. Let's put it on 10 volts because I have a 50-watt load here. Will work for example if I don't turn the voltage up too high and turn that on. You can see it draws 200 milliamps or so, like you'd expect, and then turn the current limit down. It goes into current limiting mode, and there's, so now it's you know, right down to nothing. So that works well enough to work my radio, and it doesn't need a fan like the old one. So I'm a bit happier than with the old off-the-shelf supply. So that's it.
Excellent. Thank you, Gary. You know, you can buy anything, but what's the fun of that? Okay,
It's fun. It can work.
show off.
No, I mean the volt ones. Just nothing on my giveaway.
KE7TYX. Or that one. Take your pick.
Okay. Whichever way you want to go.
I do have this schematic on this thing, and it's found on new folder 555 timer.
I will try the best I can.
Okay. All right. My plan was to be here in plenty of time, but in as much as my presentation is about a timer, I managed to get lost on the campus. They changed things around since I was here, but anyway, they say everybody's got an excuse. It's like your nose, you got one. I have one. Anyway, my device looks just like this. It's quite simple. Actually, it involves two things. I should have turned this on to start with, but there, I set it just like that. This becomes a talk timer so that you hear guys on the, or folks, I shouldn't say just guys, because you're gals too, they'll say, break for reset. And they've only talked for maybe 30 seconds. And you go, I wonder why they did that. Because, you know, what's the rule? As I remember, our 62 repeater times out in about 3 minutes. Maybe it's a little longer now. Does anybody know?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Thank you, Linda. Linda would know because she keeps track of that and makes sure that we don't get in trouble every time. And of course, the FCC has some rules about that too. So it's not only worried about timing out the repeater, but you want to stay legal, just so you don't get one of those fancy letters that say, well, who knows what it says. Anyway, the timer is now running. The little blue light says it's on. When the white light comes on, my time is up. That's 3 minutes. So, but the other part of this thing is why I made the whole thing, and this is a helpful thing for radio. But this gadget here plugs into this part of it, and you put your feet in there with a little bit of water, turn on this guy, turn it up until you feel the tingle, and it's supposed to help your vein circulation. Anyway, so
When you're ready, I'll put the schematic
Okay.
on the screen.
okay, go ahead and put the schematic up.
Yeah.
Very good. As you see, it's not really complicated. 555 timer in a fairly standard classical format. Didn't make much changes to the original design. This turns out to be about, when you have it clear around, about 10 minutes. Actually, it's 9 minutes and 40 seconds, something like that, which keeps you legal. But you can see that to the commercial thing, I've added my LED that shows that it's on. And that's about it. This capacitor works best if it's tantalum, but what I did is I didn't happen to have one of those in my junk box. So I took 3 100 microfarad capacitors, aged them on oh, my time's up. Aged them on a battery, and then paralleled them. That becomes my capacitor. And my 3 minutes are up, and so that's all I have, unless you have a question.
Good work. I need one of those.
You burned out your light. Whoops, I think we probably had.
Thank you. Okay, KJ7 UHZ, is that a U?
Thought I'd show off our little antenna that we made. It's I brought it in as a backpack, but you don't want to carry it very far. From the parking lot in was plenty good enough. I've got enough elements here that I can go up just shy of 20 feet. This is an MJF, no, MFJ. I almost said that phrase that we're not supposed to say. 2100. And so I can get 4 bands out of this. And I've got pins that go in here. So when it's up 20 feet, I can actually rotate it to where my directions are. And it makes it pretty nice. We can stake it down. In my backyard at 8 feet here, I was able to get California with no problem. Spruces, I had it up at 12 feet and I was able to get California again. Dave, we built one for him about the same thing. His right now is just a dipole,
Yeah, I've got to rebuild
his head.
the octopus on it, because I bought it off KSL and it had seen better days. So I'm working on that,
Yeah.
but I just had it as a dipole and I had it up about 20, I think I had it up 22 feet, 23 feet. I was up at
Ledge Fork.
Ledge Fork Campground up by Smith Morehouse, and I was able to get out on 20-meter to New Hampshire. And I could hear all over Europe, but I just couldn't quite
Get there.
get there. But I made a good contact in New Hampshire, and it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, this is all homemade. Exhaust pipe. I went down the local exhaust place and got it, welded it. Now I'm a pretty good welder, but welding is a little bit different than soldering. So don't look real close, okay? But it holds together, okay? And these are just, got these from Smith and Edwards up in Plain City,
Yeah, up north.
up north. About $10 a piece for these. Fiberglass ones are $5. This cost me about $30 worth of pipe here, and just the fun of doing it. And let's see here. Then the mini ham sticks I got. One thing I did on mine, when it's up 20 feet, I can't tell which is a 20 meter, which is a 15 meter sometimes. So I've got bands. I've just put heat shrink on them. So the 10 meter has got 1 band on it, so it's a lot easier to identify. So that's worked out really well. And then for power, I've got this Line Energy power, solar power unit, Jackery, and you can do that on any of them. What I did on mine, and this has a 500-watt inverter also, and outputs for cigarette lighter. The problem is these only go out maximum 10 amp. So if you're using an HF, that's not going to work. So what I did is tore it apart and I installed Anderson jacks on the end, which makes it really handy. And this will last about 2 days running my HF unit.
And you hook the Anderson jacks directly to the battery.
Yeah, these go directly to the battery. So I don't have to worry about the electronics that's up here. And then the other thing I went and done is you get a little distribution panel like this. So I can put my my tuner into this, the radio goes in this. I've got lights, anything I want. Plus I made cigarette lighter jacks here for when I have my handhelds, I can just plug them in and charge them. The other thing I did is I've got my little power unit here. So I can just plug it in here and you can monitor your battery to let you know how much power you're putting out or how much you're drawing, and also your battery power. You know, so longevity and everything. So this is just, I like doing this kind of stuff. Just wires is my thing. So any questions? Cool. Thank you.
And 7JZU.
All right. Let James get that loaded up.
Feel free to go ahead and when you're ready, I'll pull it up for you.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, what I got here is a Fox hidden transmitter that I've made. Okay, next one.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm using just a cheap Bofang radio for the radio. The next one, James. And then the brains of the transmitters, this Byronics Pitcon, it allows you to manipulate the radio, and so it'll send the tones and your call sign, and then it'll be silent for a while, and you can, with another radio, you can turn it on and off as you please. Okay, next one. That's the interface cable to the radio and the controller. And I got a on and off switch on that. Next one, James. And then just that's the power supply for the controller. Next one, James. And there's everything put together. And last one, James. And that's the final thing.
Welcome.
And I got this set so it's silent for a minute, and then it'll start transmitting. But what's nice about the controller, I can use any radio I want. So I can use it on 2 meters, 1.25 meters, 70 centimeters, 23 centimeters, 33 centimeters. So you can fox hunt on any band.
Yeah, that's right, you do for sure. I have mine set for a 60-second timeout after I turn it on, so I can hide the gosh darn thing, and then I can.
Yeah, that's what I've done on this, and this is all programmable. You can change the tones in it. You can change the duration on or off. You can change your. There we go.
I found it.
There's the ID on it. It's on 2 meters right now. So that's it. Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem, James. Once you get that.
Looks like UHZ again. Got him up there twice? Well, I think if he's up there, he should do it twice, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, KK7QXE.
Right. So let's see.
Speak loudly.
So this here is a discrete transistor super het radio receiver that I built from a kit. And I thought that I would bring it in because John Lloyd, who is a member of UARC, helped me to get this done. Specifically, he let me borrow some of his RF signal generator equipment to help me get the IF stages of the superhet aligned correctly, particularly getting these transformers getting screwed correctly. The whole idea behind the superhet is that it uses 2 capacitors and a mixer in order to take an incoming signal and to reduce it down to a fixed frequency known as an IF frequency. And this particular receiver here is designed for receiving commercial AM, FM bands, but Clint, KA7OEI, who is also a member here, has designed discrete transistor receivers for ham radio purposes and specifically for ham radio frequencies. If you go onto Clint's blog, he goes through part of his blog describes creating a transistor radio for receptions of signals from a weather satellite. That was one of the things that inspired me to get this done. I'm hoping in the future, as I complete the RFIC design courses I'm currently taking, to eventually start designing my own discrete transistor radios from scratch. And that is about the gist of it. I doubt that I'll get any radio reception inside this particular room. I think it might be worth a shot to give it a go. Yeah, we're getting static. I guess that's to be expected given how well insulated this room is. So that is largely the gist of my presentation. Sure. So the kit is made by a company called Elenco. If anyone here is familiar with snap circuits, that particular product, it's the same company. I highly recommend looking into Elenco kits if one seeks to learn how to design basic radio circuitry.
Good deal. Thank you. KN6KRB.
Hello, hello. All right. Yeah, I've been working on like these these like this fusion on the Yaesu FT70D. And I got it working. And I've been actually working on the ICOM IC705s, using the D-Star. For right now, I'm working on the fusion. While take my time working on D-Star and there's a little dongle device too called what's that thing called? A little white device, to actually get my computer and be able to like send a hotspot, to my radio. But I'll leave that to like next month. Okay, bring these things on over. So I'll talk about the 70D and the Fusion. Okay. And what's neat is that I'm going to turn this thing on. Yeah, camera.
It's pointed right at you.
Yeah. Yeah, be able to like put this on. Okay. And I'm going to do is switch the right here. K7UHP is a repeater for a Fusion. And I don't think I could get that repeater from here, but I get it from my home. So I could actually do is go function and ANS, wires, and it blinks. It's looking for that Fusion. Okay, so wires, and it blinks, and it does when it finds it. It'll find it'll say the name of that repeater, so and so, asking for some kind of a node. And then I turn this little switch right here. Yeah, it doesn't find it. But I turn the switch right here, this little switch, and it will show a star and a dash, 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 dash. And I do is take the node, the room number, and I enter in the room number. So I can enter in like Florida and say I can listen to these guys, see what's going on over there and stuff like that. So yeah, I managed to get on a net, a southeast, net, which was pretty neat. And I got in on the net there, and I got some info. They said, yeah, there's hurricane, tornadoes and stuff like that. It's a mess over there, man. So what I've been doing is I'm not getting good HF, so I've been doing is rely on this old guy right here, and then trying to get my ICOM IC705 and that little dongle there to go on the internet and be able to rely on that to do long distance communication, like for a time being when the sun is acting up, because all the HF bands are just like totally just dead, pretty much. And so I'm relying on this like in the ICOM IC705 there. And yeah, so we need the communications. So anyway, that's basically about it right there. So next month, I'm going to discuss about the ICOM IC705 and the D-Star and the little dongle I got, that little Shark HF. What's that thing called?
Open spot.
Yeah, Open Spot, 4 Pro. So I got the 4 Pro Open Spot. So next month I'll discuss that. Yeah. And you guys have a good 73.
Dalen wanted to come on and talk about his father a little bit.
Take that one loudly so we can hear you.
So most of you probably, well, maybe I don't know who here knows my late father, Ron Spears, K7RLS. Okay. So I had a number of people reach out to me, and I very much do appreciate it. But I wanted to give you a little insight. One of the things that I discussed at his memorial service was that the man that you thought you knew that was the kindly old gentleman wasn't quite the person that he was. He had a nefarious side. 3 quick stories. One, he was a teenager. His sister came to him. She was 6 years older. My radio, this is back in the days of AM, my radio is not working. So he took it apart, and she liked to listen to rock and roll on AM. So he didn't like that. So in addition to fixing her radio, he went and bent the tuning capacitor and soldered a wire so that when it tuned to the station that she liked to listen to, he'd turn out the capacitor, the radio would not receive on that station anymore. Put it back together. Second one, when that didn't work, or when he had to finally fess up to it, number 2, he had some parts back in the tube days. He built a Hartley oscillator and had it on his workbench downstairs in the basement, right underneath her bedroom, so that it would jam that frequency. Third story. Back in the 1970s, my mother had a friend of hers that electrocuted herself accidentally with a non-grounded extension cord outside when she was cutting the grass. Her friend, another friend of hers, decided that they would make a tree for the Festival of Trees down at the Salt Palace. They got the tree down there, got it set up. One of the lights would not work. So my mother, in a panic, calls my dad, who worked at E&S over here in Research Park, and said, come and help us. One of the strings of lights isn't working. We've got it all wired up, and we don't have an idea of where the bad bulb is. We don't want to take it apart. So my dad grabbed a meter, went down to the Salt Palace, checked it out, found the burned out bulbs. He was one spare bulb short. So he says to the friends that were there, does anybody have any gum? I don't want the gum, I just want the wrapper. So he jams the little wrapper of aluminum in the socket, lights come on, maybe just a tiny bit brighter. Lights come on, everything's great, okay? We're talking little series circuits, little series lights. So about 2 weeks later, late one night, very close to Christmas, there's this pounding on the front door. And it's my mother's friend who was at the Festival of Trees. And she is about as red as the button on that controller right there, this shirt right here. She says, do you know you just about made me burn my house down? And my dad says, what are you talking about? And she lived directly across the street. She says, you come over here. So my dad grabbed his jacket. They walk across the street. He walks in the house, and there is this haze in the house. And she didn't smoke, this haze of smoke in the house. And burned insulation. And she says, I just did what you did, and I almost burned my house down. And she had 120 volt parallel string and had decided that because there was a bulb that wasn't working, she was going to jam some household aluminum foil down in the socket, screw it back in, plug it in the wall. My dad proceeded to laugh, which only made her more angry. And her husband was also in the kitchen with her kids laughing, which made the situation even worse. And she says, why didn't it work for me? It worked for you. And my dad's basic thing was, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. So perhaps maybe my dad wasn't the saintly gentleman that you all thought he was, but there's 3 good stories to remember him by, and I hope you have a good night. Thanks.
That was excellent. Thank you. Okay, do we have anybody else? Did anybody forget to put their name on the board? Okay, go home. Oh yeah, tickets. Why is it I always forget the tickets? Maybe because I never win anything. Actually, that's not true. I think I won something last time.
Okay, we're gonna take it out. How many prizes?
I don't know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9.
Not doing that this time? Okay, try that. Use one more.
That is 4.
Oh.
That's 5, 6.
Nine. Okay. There we go.
7, 8, 9. Okay. All right, you got that one. That's hers. Oh, is it? Okay.
Grand prize should be the CW.
Yeah. It's a practice key. Okay, we got Kilo 9 Sierra Lima Echo, JJ Marcus. And by the way, this is first come, first serve, so you got to run. Alpha India 7 Uniform Golf. Kilo Charlie 7 Lima November Romeo. What do you want? Okay. Okay. Hang on. We got.
All right, so we have a storage organizer. We have a digital multimeter, a wire stripper. We have a headlamp. We have a tape measure. We have a hex key set. We have a heat shrink tubing assortment. And we have a bag for storing a radio. So what would you like, Sigrid?
Can I get a wire stripper?
Yeah, you got it. Oh, sorry.
Okay. So. W7 no, W, yeah, Jerry. November 7 Juliet Zulu uniform. Kilo Golf 7 Golf Oscar GOW whiskey, yeah. Don Pollins N7 YUQ, is that it? And last but not least, okay. Looks like a Blaine. You read that? It's written in pencil. It's kind of hard to pick out. Lazy Ahurst.
Blaze.
There. Okay. Put those in there too.
Thank you all for calling. We appreciate it greatly.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Thank you all for coming.
Did everyone, did I call and get a